morning everybody, and welcome to Sinfimore Allotments yet again. And here we are doing our Grow With Us project. This is series 2, episode 3, and this year we've been doing fine green beans or dwarf beans. And the reason these are called dwarf beans, which are the same as fine green beans, but the plant itself grows really little. So we've done all the bits where we've planted the seed, then we've gone to the bit where we've planted it into the ground, and now hopefully all of your plants have grown amongst all your other flowers and your bushes in your garden, and hopefully now they're all producing beautiful beans for you. Here on the allotment, as you can see, I've got quite a small little area, and there's probably about 24 little bushes here, but I also have some space. Then I've got little ones dotted around my allotment in where there's little spaces, so I can pick those as well. So it's quite easy to show you. You know, this is one bush here and that's the second bush, so you can see how little they are and how lovely they will fit into your garden, lovely, without ruining anything else that you've got there going. They're also self-pollinating, so they don't need to be next to each other. They'll pollinate quite happily on their own, so you can even have the one bush. I would probably suggest you probably have about 6, because each time you go and pick them, each one will have so many beans, and some growing, so there'll be some ready to eat and some to grow. So you'll probably need about 6 to get a portion off for your family. Right, so we're now at the point where we're looking at the harvest, and I'm just going to show you. I mean, a lot of you probably already know, but I'm going to show you what not to pick and how to pick them, and if there's a little bit too big, what to do with those ones as well. So we'll take one of these plants, and if I'll just lift this up, Kevin, so you can see and zoom in. Yep. So what happens with this plant, it sends out these long shoots and loads of flowers. As you can see, mine is still flowering. Love this. There's going to be loads and loads more beans on here. I'm talking of beans stroke bees. The bees absolutely love these flowers as well, so they'll definitely attract the bees into your garden too, which is a lovely thing to watch. Anyway, so what you're going to have is the plant will send out these shoots like that, and it'll have the flowers on. The flower, I don't know if you can actually see that, when that dies, it'll have a little tiny baby green bean, and that's the bit you need to be really careful of. So look after those, and they'll eventually grow into these lovely beans here that you're going to be eating later. So as for picking, you should just be able to tug, and they pull off quite nicely. You don't have to cut them, you don't have to get a pair of scissors. Be careful you don't yank the plant too much, or you might pull it out the ground, but literally a quick pull and off they come. And the size of the bean that you're looking for is, it should be nice and smooth, it should be firm, not floppy. If it's floppy, it's not ready, it's too soft. So you want them fairly firm. You can end up with, and I'll see if I can find any. In fact, I can just see one there, Kev, so just bear with me. There's one quite big one here, so I'm going to pull that one off. Now, I would say, looking at that, I would say that's like twice the size in thickness as that one. I would honestly say that's possibly gone over, and if you cook that with those, I think you might find that could be a bit stringy. So take them off and actually just compost them. I wouldn't risk putting them in with your other beans. Obviously, if you can catch them every day, hopefully they won't get like that, but occasionally you will get one. So try not to probably eat those. You could probably eat one end of it, but I think where it's gone really fat, I think you'll find that not very nice to eat. So don't bother with that one. I'll stick it in my tray just for now. And then obviously all you do is you go round your bush, you make sure, see that one is just too small. Really, it's just still growing, it's a little bit wrinkly, and that will fill out and straighten up as it goes along. So you just pick all the ones that you can see. You'll have lots of those, and so if you came out and just picked them every day or every other day, you should avoid getting these quite big thick ones in there. As you can see, I've probably missed a few because there's quite a lot to pick, but yeah, on the whole you should be able to do that. Now I am going to be showing you how to prepare these, cook them, and if you've got an abundance of them, I'm also going to show you how to freeze them so that you've got them in months to come. When these have all gone, you'll still be able to do that. So, but before we go, Kevin, I just want to show the audience, if we can, a different type of fine green bean. So these were dwarf beans, and it doesn't mean the bean's any smaller, it just means the plant's only a dwarf plant. But you can actually get them as a climber. And this is one here that I'm trying out this year. This actually it's quite slow compared to that one taking off, but this will be nice because this will be giving me beans when they've finished. So as you can see, it's full of flowers, and all these little flowers will turn into beans. And what's really lovely about these is the foliage is absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of a dark green with a red tinge to it. All of the stems are sort of this purple colour, and the flowers are absolutely stunning. If you can just see here, Kev, that's a runner bean, so I'm growing them right next to my runner beans, so I'm using the same stand for them all. But this is a fine green bean. This is. If I show you one here and just pull this out a little bit, can you see these, Kev?
Not quite
so these,
at the moment, but
can you see them now? So these are now turning into beans.
Right.
Now what's beautiful about them, they will actually be this dark purple red when they're ready. So you've got a couple there. They start off in a sort of a greeny colour, and then they start to go purple, and when they're ready they will be a really dark purple.
Right.
The very strange thing is, when you cook them, they go back to green. So, but I just thought, you know, when you're picking them and you harvest, they just look so pretty. And the flowers, I've never grown them before. I really, really like the flower. And it's something else, if you've got the space and you want to do it next to your runner beans and mix them in, that's fine. They obviously quite happily sit together. Mm-hmm. So we will now go and have a look at how to prep these beans, and we'll go from there. See you in a minute. Right, so here we are, Kev and everybody. So we've picked our beans. I'm now going to show you what we're going to do with them. So the first thing I'm going to do, spread them all out. It's quite easy to decide whether something's, I was telling you earlier about not have the big fat ones. It's quite easy to do that when you've got them all together, because clearly you can see which ones are the fat ones. They stand out a mile. So I'm going to just pull those out, Kev. The ones I'm not really happy with, you know, they can see they're quite big. I know for a fact that they'll be a little bit tough, and all of these will be absolutely gorgeous, and I don't want those odd ones to spoil everything else. That's it, I'm happy with all of those now. They look lovely, all about the same size. Yeah, happy with all of those, and as you can see, if I just put those there, what a difference in size that is. So you've got some really big ones there, and obviously these are much better. So it's not worth it. You're going to have lots. Obviously it's better if you didn't let them get that big, but it happens, believe me, it happens. So they'll go straight into my compost bin, so they'll be reused in a different way. So all you do now is we're going to prep them. In the shops sometimes you get them ready prepped, and all they'll do is give you them with the picking end where it's growing. And they'll leave the little curly end on, and you can cook them like that. I personally, because I can't be bothered to turn them all around the same way, what I tend to do is grab a little handful, tap them down and just chop the ends off, just like that, and then do the other side as well and just chop them off, and basically there you go, there's your green beans. If you've got a very long one, you can chop that in half if you wanted to, and basically there you go, you've already got your beans. So you do that with all of these. I'm going to just pop them in there for now. So you just get all your beans, line them all up, give them a tap, and basically just chop the ends off. Again, they'll all go into my compost bin, Kev. Makes great compost.
Right.
And there we go. And that's basically what you do. And I'll just finish these, I may as well. They're all ready then, I can have these in my tea, Kev. That'd be nice, won't they? All freshly picked today. Imagine going in your garden and you're thinking, oh, I think I might have picked some beans. And obviously if you did our runner bean series last year, you'll be able to pick your runner beans as well, because they'll be growing now as well. Right. Anyway, that's it. That's all you need to do. So all that's just compost. We'll put that in the compost bag over there. Now, all you're going to do, obviously I haven't got a stove here, however, you get a decent sized saucepan, boil up some water, and when it's on the rolling boil, you can put a sprinkle of salt in if you want. I personally don't. That's because I'm just keeping my salt levels down, but if you did prefer a little bit of salt, you can add it to the boiling water. Once this is boiling up, literally you tip your beans into there and literally put your time. Now this is cooking them for the time is totally up to you. Because they're fresh, they won't take anywhere near the amount of time they'll take when you buy them from the shops. I can assure you that. So if you've picked them today or even yesterday, and the water is boiling, it'll take about a minute for the water to get back up to boil. I would say at 5 minutes, take one out, obviously not with your fingers, but take one out and just have a taste and see what you think. If it's perfect for you, then it's cooked. If it's too hard for you, cook it a bit longer, and you'll get used to where your beans need to be. When they're freshly picked, they cook very, very fast. You don't need to cook these for 20 minutes like you do the ones in the shops. These will take literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you want it a little bit softer, but do not cook them for 20. They'll just be they'll just be like mush. So that's it. So when they're ready, obviously you strain them out and serve them up with your roast beef and whatever else you want to have. So that's that way. Obviously they can eat them fresh. Now, if you had an abundance and you actually wanted to freeze these, the preparation is exactly the same up to this point. You boil your water up, and once it's going to boil, now then, this is where it's slightly different. So if you've got a whole load, I mean, obviously if you've got a family of 6 and you were cooking these to eat on the day, you'd probably have quite a lot of beans in here. When you freeze in, you don't want to be having too many in the water at any one time, because you need them to, it's a very, very fast cook. It's called blanching, and it's a very fast cook, and you need all the heat to get into every single bean, so you don't want too much going in there at a time, so it's all very quick. So basically all you do is the same up to this point. Boil the water up. I wouldn't put salt in when you're blanching. I use a fryer pan here because it makes it quicker and easier. Throw my beans in, get my timer, and literally drop my beans into boiling water, wait for it to go back up to the boil, which would be a few seconds, maybe a minute max, and then I time it just for a minute. Let them boil away, and as soon as your little timer goes off, you take them out, take them to your cold tap, run them under the tap, and then you dunk them into a bowl full of ice, if you can, full of iced water, and let them really cool down. Now while they're cooling, you can do your next batch and keep going, so you get a whole load of going, and it is kind of like a conveyor belt really. So the next batch is cooking. I'm now obviously going to take this, I've got 2 of these, quite handy, so one's cooking and one's in the bowl of water. So literally take them out, drain them off a bit, put them on some kitchen roll, and literally just spread them out, and get your kitchen roll and tap them to get most of the moisture off, and make them all sort of quite dry, as much as you can see. So you've got tissue underneath, tissue on the top, just dry them out. They're still firm, you couldn't eat them, they're really, really hard. Get as much of the moisture off as you can. Once you're happy with that, take yourself, I've got a baking tray here, but just a small tray, make sure it fits in your freezer, so make sure you've got room for that in the freezer. You get your part cooked beans, drop them on, spread them all out. So the idea here is that you're giving them individual space, so you don't want to be cramming them so they're on top of each other. Pop those in for the freezer, and within about an hour, maybe 2, you can leave it overnight, it's up to you. When they're frozen, you literally take them out, and you can do these in batches and pile them up. And when you've got them, all you need to do is drop them into this bag, put your date on so you know when you did it, and they're ready to go. And that's it, we're done. So there you go. So you know how to do your runner beans, and now you know how to do your French beans. Hope you all enjoyed that, and we certainly have, and we hope that you'll continue to grow with us and enjoy the fruits of your harvest. Thanks everybody. Say goodbye, Kev.
Bye bye. Thanks, Dawn, for doing it, and bye bye to everyone.
Yeah, you're welcome. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.